shake it, baby.
Hi YouTubers, welcome back to my channel. This video looks a little different today because I am sitting in my car currently and it's raining cats and dogs outside, and I just wanted to come to you all with a little story time. I got so many stories to tell, and I guess I'm gonna start off with the most obvious. What happened to my face? Let's see. So this story is about when I got into the house fire when I was 2 years old. So I was born in 1984, giving my age away back in the 80s, to my mom, who was 18 at the time when she had me. I already had an older brother. He was 4, so she had him when she was 16. The history of my family is that my mom's mom, my grandmother, had her when she was in prison for prostitution. She really didn't know who my grandfather was. And then my mom turned around and followed in her footsteps and had us when she was younger. But it was a different story. She was hooked on drugs. Crack, to be exact. My mom didn't finish high school and she got addicted to crack. I don't know how. I don't know much about my family history, but this is all I know. And so the story goes, from what I was told, that one day she went out to get her fix and left me and my older brother in the house alone, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And some way or another, the house caught on fire and we got burned. Now, the flashes that I get in my memory is that my brother was playing with matches. I may be wrong, but this is my memory I'm relying on. And mind you, I was 2 years old. But it comes in flashes. It never comes like a whole memory. It's just I'll be thinking about something and then I'll get a flash. The story that my brother tells me is that we had an older uncle/cousin watching us and he fell asleep with a cigarette. He says he can remember, but I can't rely too much on my brother's memory because he let all the trauma get to him in his mind. He's not mentally strong. He has his moments. But anyway, so we're in this house fire, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. From what I was told, I don't remember none of the fire. I don't remember feeling it. I don't remember anything because it's like a big trauma block in my head, except for the flashes. But from what I was told was that my brother, he covered me and protected me from getting burned as badly as he did because he put his body on top of mine, from what I was told. And then I was told that the fire department and everybody came out, put the fire out, found my brother, took him to the hospital, and then left. And then one of my cousins knew that I was in the house and he broke back in to find me, and I was hiding under the bed crying. But I don't remember any of this. All of this is pieces from different people's story. I was thinking about getting hypnotized so I could go back and remember, but I don't know if I want to deal with all that. I don't know. But I do want to remember so I can have a clear picture in my head of what happened, so I can find out who to fucking blame besides my mom, you know? But anyway, so where was I? Cousin found me under the bed. He rushed me to the hospital, so I was told. And after that, the recovery process began. Now, my mom at the time, I don't know where she was or how she found out, but she found out because the courts terminated her parental rights, claiming she was unfit to care for us. Me and my brother had different fathers. My dad's rights were terminated. His dad's rights were terminated. And off to foster care we fucking went, okay? After we recovered, I feel like it took a year because one of my biological aunts, she has photos of me recovering. In my lifetime, I've had to learn how to walk 3 times. One, as everybody does, walking. Two, after the fire. And three, after one of my major surgeries that I can remember. And forgive me if I'm talking a little weird or breathing kind of heavy. It's because this is hard for me to talk about, but I feel like I want to get this out there because I have so many questions as to who I am and what happened to me. And in my hometown, it's a small hometown, and everybody labels me as that girl who was in that fire with her brother. So, if you want to know, here's the answer, okay? From what I know and from what I can remember. So, at 3 years old, this is 1988, my brother and I, we get thrown into the system. First home we stopped at is my aunt, my biological aunt, who shall remain nameless, my biological aunt's house. From what I can remember about her house, I remember we didn't stay long. And one vivid flash of memory that I can have is that me and my brother in the bathtub together and soap getting in my eye. I remember screaming, and I remember my aunt coming rushing in helping me get the soap out of my eye. And that's all I can remember from her home. The next home that we stayed in belonged to a married couple who had already had 4 children, but they were grown. And my brother and I were 3 and 5. That's the next home we stayed in. It started out kind of good. The story, I don't want it to get too long because I have many story times and I'm kind of writing a book, so I'll just give you bits and pieces. But this home was the house of hell, okay? Now, we're 3 and 5 recovering from burns, but the whole time we're recovering and remembering and just getting back into the swing of life, we endured more trauma. Now, I don't know how, I don't know why. All I know is what I know. I don't know how these people became foster parents. And maybe they were the kind, they were just after the check. But I know this is going to piss some people off. I'm going to try to keep names out of this. But just before I say this, I'm just giving a disclaimer. I live in a small town. People are going to know who I'm talking about. And I no longer give a fuck because I've been hurt my whole life. It's time for me to tell some truth, okay? So, in this foster home, it started out great. It started out wonderful. We finally had parents. We finally had some normalcy. We finally had food all the time. We finally had toys, anything we could possibly ask for, we had it. Now, and that was just within the first, I say 6 months to a year from my memory. And after that, shit hit the fan. The first time I can remember shit going sideways is being 5 years old. No. Before 5 years old. But let's start with this 5-year-old memory. First time shit went sideways. People are old school, parents are old school. You get whoopings and shit, but these weren't no regular fucking whoopings. These were beatings, okay? 5 years old, I remember having problems with peeing in the bed. Now, if any other compassionate person would have gotten me and my brother, they would have known to give us some time. We were just getting over a lot. Our lives have been flipped upside down. Like, we lost our parents. We lost everything we knew, okay? And then we're dealing with these disfigurements. And, by the way, I was burned on 25% of my body. My brother was burned on 75% of his, okay? So you do the math. You see this scar on my face, but you don't know the half, okay? So, as we're learning and adjusting to get into this thing, we start getting beatings. And not only beatings, we're getting told every day that nobody wants you. Nobody will ever love you. You're ugly. You ain't worth nothing. Who gonna want you? Look at you. You ugly. We getting told this shit every day. Children now. I peed in the bed at 5 years old. I woke up the next morning covered in pee, of course, and I got one of the worst whoopings with the belt on my naked ass that I've ever gotten at 5. The next night, I didn't pee in the bed. I never peed in the bed again. Because the way I thought back then, if I just sit quiet, if I just be quiet, if I do everything they asked me to do, I won't get touched. I learned that quickly because that shit hurt. Not only my ass, but my soul. Like, that shit took something out of me. So, after that, I would try to be good. Like, we were left in the home by ourselves because our foster mom had 2 jobs. She had to work in the evening. So after school, we came home. She left from work and we stayed there by ourselves till about 6:30, a couple hours. But we couldn't eat anything. We couldn't go in her food. We couldn't touch her TV. All we could do was do our homework and sit there until she got back. Okay? And we did it. We did our homework. And it was a little corner. She had 2 little wooden chairs that I could remember sitting on the side of this big black entertainment center. And we sat in these chairs and we folded our arms and we kind of fell asleep. We did it. We did what we were told because we were terrified. I know I was terrified. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for my brother, but I was terrified, okay? We got knives pointed at our chest. I still have a mark right here on my chest from a knife. Talking about I'm gonna kill you, just like anger. Anger was rage towards us kids. We stayed in this home. I'm from the age of me, I was 3 until the age of 10. It's when somebody finally fucking took notice. We would come to school with busted lips. I know I had a bruise on my arm, my forearm right here. Like, I'm holding the camera, so I can't really show you. Like, this fucking big sticking up off my arm. And it was the darkest, purplest bruise. I went to school. The shit was itching. I'm scratching. My friend's like, what happened? I got a whooping. And you know what I got a whooping for? Turning on the fucking TV. So, this one particular instance, she was gone. Foster mom was going to work, her second job. Me and my brother were told to stay at home, do what we usually do, our homework and nothing else. No after school snack, no nothing. We snuck in the kitchen making syrup sandwiches because we don't want her to notice that we had been in the food. Like, I would fix me spoonfuls of Texas Pete. Like, I was hungry. Syrup sandwiches is Texas Pete and drinking some water. So this one particular day, we got tired of sitting in the house, not doing anything. We're kids. We can't just sit there. We turned on the TV. Yes, I did. And we had one of those old box TVs. And the power button didn't work. Not knowing then that I could have seriously got injured. We saw her oldest son take a butter knife and stick it in the hole and turn the TV on. So what did I do? Take a butter knife, stick it in the hole, turn the TV on. And we would watch our favorite show. I'd be standing real close to the TV, like right up on the TV. So we could, and looking out the window at the same time, looking at the TV, looking out the window. So we could see when she got back. We were watching Saved by the Bell. That was one of my favorite freaking shows. And so this one particular day, we were doing the usual. We got our homework done. We cleaned up. And we turned on the TV. And stood up right in front of it. Not even sitting down getting comfortable. Right in front of it. So we could see when Mama got home. So we saw her headlights pull up. She was a little bit late this day. I remember this. She was late. And I get the butter knife and I'm scrambling to turn the TV off. And I look at my brother. I'm like, I can't turn it off. He's like, well, I'm going to go help with the groceries. You get the TV off. I'm like, all right. So he runs outside to distract Mama. And I'm struggling with this butter knife trying to turn the TV off. And I finally get it off. And then I put the knife up and I run to the door and help bring in the groceries. And evidently, my brother snuck and told her something because she comes in the living room and she touches the box on the back of the TV. And it's hot. And she looks at us. We lined up side by side. She goes, who turned this TV on? And my thing back then was if I was just quiet, I could disappear. Like, she won't see me if I'm quiet. Like, I won't. If I'm quiet, I'll be okay. And she looked at me again and she said, who turned my goddamn TV on? My brother pointed at me. He said, Sakita. And I said, I did, because he already fucking told on me. And so she goes in her room. And while we're still standing there, my stomach, oh God, I feel like I was about to shit a brick. And we're still standing there. She comes back out of her room with the black belt, black thick leather belt. And she said, what hand did you turn the TV on with? And I said, this one. I'm right-handed. She said, hold out your hand. So I held out my hand, and she took the belt, and like until she got tired, she was whacking and whacking and whacking and whacking and whacking me. And if I jerked back, she whacked 10 more times. And when she finished, I had that big ass bruise, and I went to school the next day. And every time we left the house for school or anything with our caseworker, she'd be like, now don't you tell what goes on in my household. So we knew not to say zip. We lied for her. And everybody saw the bruise. Teacher saw the bruise. I had short sleeves on. Everybody saw the bruise. But nobody said anything. So it just went about. It healed up eventually. But before it healed up, we had more bruises. Switch marks like she switches till we bled. It's bad enough we're already healing from burn scars. Like we were burned. I can't... It's bad enough we're already healing from that, and then we have to face this trauma too. But so my brother gets in trouble in school one day, and he had issues. He used to get in trouble in school. No lie, we got picked on. We got bullied. I was called Freddy Krueger. I had to basically pick on myself so that I could have friends. Like it was terrible. Kids are terrible. They're brutally honest. But he got in trouble in school one day. And so she marches her ass up to the school. Now, I don't know what the fuck all of these adults around were thinking, but this shit was mental abuse and emotional abuse what she did to my brother at that school. She pulled up his shirt and showed his back, all his scars. You ugly. Who gonna want you? Why are you sitting here acting like a fool in school? Why are you doing? Look at you. And he's burned on the back of his head and everything. Like, she did that in front of the classroom. And nobody said anything. It won't nobody coming to save us, y'all. It won't nobody coming. But, and I'm telling you all of this. This goes into who I am and why I am the way that I am. And this goes along with what happened to me, because I have scars on me and inside of me, the fire did not cause. This is who I am. But I'm no longer a victim. I am a survivor because I've made it. I lived through that. And many other things. This is just the one. But I lived. I made it out. But anyways, the last straw was, and there are many more things that I could tell you, but this is the last straw in that home. I was 10, he was 12. She had baked a cake for the pastor at the church across the yard from us. The church was like right across the yard from us. It was a chocolate cake. I remember it vividly. She was at work once again. Me and my brother were at home. Do not go in my chocolate cake. Do not touch this cake. We said, yes, ma'am. She went to work. So, my brother, it's after school. They don't feed you shit in school. Like, we was hungry. I told you the syrup sandwiches and shit. So he must have just been so tempted by this cake and so hungry that he cut him a slice and he ate it. And I was like, oh, Cedric, you gonna get in trouble. But he was hungry. So he ate it. A foster dad comes in the house and he's like, who been in that cake? And I was told. I said, him. And he just said, And he walked out the door doing whatever he did. So, Went throughout the night, tried to have everything cleaned up for when she came back home. And she come home, first thing she do is lay her shiny hedge clippers down on the kitchen table. She had 2 pairs. Opened the refrigerator, looked at the cake. Who been in this cake? He always told on me, so I was like, him. And she called him in the room, and he admitted it. And the first thing she could think to pick up to hit a 12-year-old child with was those new hedge clippers. And she was swinging them like she wanted to kill him. And he blocking his face and everything. And I'm in the other room crying because, oh God, it was blood. It was so much blood. And then she sent him outside after she finished and washed him off with a water hose. And told him to sit out there in the dark and think about what he did. And so he did. And I sat there. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go out there and check him. I didn't want to get hit. And he finally come back in. She wrapped him up with some fucking Band-Aids. Like his finger was down, cut down to the bone. And his arm was sliced like she almost hit that major artery. And she put fucking Band-Aids on him and coached him. If anybody asked you what you did, tell me you failed. Tell him you failed. And that was the last straw. They finally noticed then when we went back to school. They finally paid attention. Well, that was a hard story to tell, but I got it out. And I have many, many more. That doesn't stop there. We've been through some shit, but I am not a victim. I am a survivor because I've been through it. I'm not still in it. But leave me a comment below if you have any questions. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I thank you so much for listening.